And welcome back to Deathbattle Prediction. We had Sun Wukong versus Hercules. I got it right. Woo! Actually puts me up now. If I did the math right, there we have the 7 I think we've had. I am now 4-3, which is great. That said, first off, by the way, this thumbnail comes us from Ray Lewis HDX2. Get that out of the way. Boba Fett versus Predators X. Do not, and I'm going to say this one more time. I'm going to say it right at the beginning of the video. Do not tell me what the result is. In fact, do not post in the video what the result of the death battle is Sunday. I get it. There are a lot of people who do the early access and can see it the day prior to the actual debut. A lot of people, including myself, don't do that. So please don't spoil that for people, because that ruins a lot of the excitement and the thrill. So I'm going to tell you right now, to the person who did it and to anyone else who does it again, you do it again, you're going to get banned from the comments, because now you're just kind of ruining things for other people. Now that we got that out of the way, Boba Fett versus Predator, or Yautjas as they're called. Well, actually, excuse me, they're called Predators, but the species is actually known as the Yautja. See, up for the last two verses, maybe like 3 or 2 to 3. It's actually seemed pretty clear. Like Omni-Man and Homelander, that was a stop, a clear stop. Magneto versus Tetsuo, there was a little bit of debate there, but I overall did still feel confident Magneto would win, and he won. Hercules versus Sun Wukong, the person who won, and ultimately I got that right. And there was definitely debate going on there, but there was nothing stood out to me in terms of like someone. In terms of a real close match. A real close match. This is one where it's going to be close. Also, I'm wondering if we're going to get a live action fight with this one. But the reason for that is these characters are very much... they're very much similar in terms of what they bring to the table. I don't know if it's been announced yet, if it's a live action or not. I'll love it if it's a live action. Hopefully it'd be great. But I don't know if it's been announced if it's a live action or not, or what exactly they're using for each character. Because if we're going out of like Legends, then Boba Fett's got a lot more of an arsenal to go deal with or use. If we're not, then we're sticking with canon. That limits him down a bit. Same can be said to Yautja. Are we going strictly with the movies, or are we going to be looking at the expanded lore? So, my guess is they will look at both expanded lore for both these characters, comics and all that for the Yautjas, for the Predator, and, Legends for Boba Fett. That said, that still doesn't make this an easy fight for either of them. Because when you really break it down, let's look at this real quick, everything I know off the top of my head, anyway, about these two. In terms of physicality, Predator's got the edge right there. Predator's got a very clear edge. It's larger, more powerful, more durable than Boba Fett is. Predators, even without their armor, can take lots of claw gouges, scrapes, can be shot with little firearms, and basically kind of walk them off a little bit. Higher caliber weapons are more of a problem, but they can still actually take a lot more damage than the average person can. They're also obviously much physically stronger than the average person. And to be fair, Mandalorians are trained as warriors, sure, but this thing was able to completely ass-whoop Arnold Schwarzenegger, who, as a character, is clearly a much more physically able human than most others. And this thing was just messing him around, no problem. So the Predator's got the physicality advantage. But that's real, and to be fair, this is going to most likely come down to a close quarters fight. I'm talking just a little too fast for my pronunciation to keep up. But it's going to come down to a close quarters fight, I do believe. So you take that into the equation, both their helmets are pretty much capable of doing the exact same thing. Seeing in different visual spectrums, we know that Mandalorian helmets do have an infrared feature to them. They also have a targeting system. The Predator system can see in many different spectrums of light, so they're pretty much fine. They're pretty much equal. their weaponry. Boba, I actually think, has the better weaponry in terms of at least like firearms. He's got his, I can't remember what it is, but I think it's a carbine blaster. But that thing can obviously just pew, 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 pew. The Predator's plasma cannon, I think, is ultimately more powerful, but it's a slower firing weapon. Whereas you can just pull the trigger. Like, hell, if you really want to, I'd love to see someone do this. I saw Benicio del Toro do this in one of the Sicarios, where he took a gun and just went, like, you ever gone to an arcade and just done that? Just, like, seriously, how has no one in Star Wars done that yet? Just take a standard like blaster and just go, turn it into rapid fire. How come no one's freaking done that yet? Anyway, so his blaster still can fire a lot more shots more successfully. Granted, I think a Predator can survive one or two, at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe not 5, but a couple hits easy from a standard blaster or even a medium level blaster. If they can survive a bullet shot or a bullet to the gut, as we see in Predator 2, and if someone, as we saw in the most recent episode of Kenobi, can survive a blaster to the gut, granted, it was implied she wasn't going to survive. That's why she sacrificed herself, but she might have been able to get enough time to a back to tank. If someone could survive literally being stabbed through the torso with a lightsaber, they can survive a blaster shot. It just takes some time with back to tank. The point being, I do believe that the plasma cannon is more powerful than Boba's standard arsenal, standard weaponry. But the Boba's is probably got more accuracy, and it's and it is just easier to get more rapid fire shots off. Both have targeting systems though, so there's that. Then you have extra weapons as well. Now here, Boba doesn't actually carry a lot of extra weapons. If we go in Legends, I mean, what does he have? He's got, I believe, an electric shock thing. He's got his flamethrower, but we've seen most Predators, well, not fireproof. I mean, in Alien vs. Predator, Predator got lit on fire for a little bit, and he was annoyed by it, and then he killed Lance Hendricks. So there's that. We see in the Prey trailer, the Predators are strong enough to lift a full-grown grizzly. And it's implied that actually might be a female Predator. It might be the first time we see one of them in movies, cinema. Then you got Boba's. The one thing Boba really has in terms of firepower is the rocket. He's only got one of those, but it does give him an aerial advantage. So in terms of mobility, he may have an advantage over the Predator. And he's got the rocket that he can use to attack the Predator. That said, if the Predator has his mask on, or is just paying attention, he's got to basically be able to hit the Predator is what I'm getting at for that to really do much. That hits at point blank and the armor doesn't do anything, that could be the end game. But that's where it's still not done. Boba does in Legends carry one or two lightsabers he's taken off a Jedi. Now he's not necessarily a master swordsman, but he's competent enough to use it if he needs it. And a lightsaber is a freaking lightsaber. On the other hand, then you got all the Predator weapons. You want to talk about freaking arsenal these guys have. You have the bow. I think is it called the plasma cannon or just shoulder cannon? Called the shoulder cannon. You have the shoulder cannon. You have obviously the wrist blades. You have the bomb in there. The Predator has its camouflage. Now I believe that Boba Fett, his ability to see thermal just like Predators negates the camouflage because that's light bending. But still, you have the camouflage. Then you have, I'm trying to remember everything I remember from the movies alone. Then you have in Predator 2, you have that net, which as we actually get revealed in Alien vs. Predator, is messed up because it literally starts to twist, turn, and cut in, and apparently it burns. Either that or it's made of such tiny wires that are also rotating that the minute you touch them, you start to get shredded on your hands. I have a feeling that might be more what was going on in that scene when they tried to rescue him. So they've got that, those spears that are tough as hell, that weird dart thing that Donald Glover found that they said it couldn't identify the metal. You got that. You got a hunting knife. You got the freaking. Okay, you've got the plasma disc and the freaking shuriken. The shuriken was bad. I don't care what anyone says about it. Alien vs. Predators aren't amazing, but those shurikens are badass, man. Badass. So you got that. You have those as well. I'm trying to remember. I know there's more that I'm probably forgetting. They have a large arsenal to deal with, and it's noted that this is not regular metal you find on Earth. This is a much tougher metal than what you find on Earth. Which leads us into the final thing to talk about with these guys is, and maybe, excluding maybe like actual style of combat, is their armor. The killing blow is going to come from the guy who can get the better hit in more successfessly. Now, obviously, Mandalorians and Boba Fett does not identify as a Mandalorian, but Boba Fett wears Beskar armor. Beskar is one of the toughest armors in the galaxy. Not the universe, but the galaxy, as they say. And it's strong enough to deflect blaster bolts, although you still feel the concussive force of the bolt. It can still knock you down. And highly resistant. Not immune, mind you, but highly resistant to lightsabers. Like, it can just take a glancing bow from a lightsaber and be fine. You hold a lightsaber to it for an extended period of time, Beskar goes red hot, and eventually you probably would end up melting it down. Because the Beskar has to be melted down in general just to forge these things. So eventually you can reach the heat to melt Beskar, and lightsabers give enough time probably, and enough time connecting to it, would most likely melt it down. But Predator, that's the problem. Predator doesn't have a weapon, as far as I know, in their arsenal that is a lightsaber. So that's probably not going to happen. But the catch-22 with Boba Fett is, it's not like his entire body's covered in this. I mean, you can only barely see. You can only see it kind of in the picture here, but he's got he wears his helmet, which is dented, by the way. That was a gift from Cad Bane. He wears bracers. He's got it on his back and on his front, and he's got plenty of weak spots there. Predator armor is a little bit more. It's a little bit tougher to figure out, because a lot of Predators that we see don't usually wear armor. Like the first one we see in the original movie, it's not wearing any armor. It's got like some shoulder stuff, but it's not really wearing armor. It's not. So that immediately is more of a weak spot. But we see in other continuities, like we see when the older Predator comes at the end of AVP, that fucker's armored up. That guy is like ready to go to war kind of thing. This guy is a leader. Which, by the way, again, still a cool looking moment. Still better elder Predator moment was the Predator moment from Predator 2. Just take it. and I'll bring it up too, because I think I brought it up before. That is actually explained where that came from in a comic, and it's a great comic. Where basically Predator's hunting pirates, and his captain's crew turned against him, and they're actually fighting side by side with each other. And eventually they make it off the boat and sink it, but he's been mortally wounded. And the Predator, looks at, they're looking at him, and he just goes to the Predator, just says, take it. He takes the guns, like, out of respect for, fighting with him, and he dies. And the Predator actually gave him a burial, like a warrior's burial. Like that, and it's just such a cool thing, man. I love stuff like that. But this poses the honor code is a little bit of this might hurt the Predator, because it is a hunter and a warrior. It does have a code. And when going 1-on-1, we see that Predators will often strip down mano-a-mano against their opponent. But that might not happen here, because Boba's not going to show the same respect. Boba will fight dirty if he has to. And Boba's not going to show the same courtesy. So assuming they get, I'll look at it two ways. If they give Predators armor, and if they don't. Finally, there's tactics. Like I said, Boba will do whatever. He's a skilled fighter, and he will fight dirty. Predators, though, are trained hunters and warriors from birth. And they're just physically more powerful than we are. By a large margin, actually. So I'm going to take the armor thing into the equation first. If the Predator has armor, and if it's more durable than what I think you even give it credit for, I think I'll go the Predator. The Predator will quickly realize, too, that he's not going to be able to get through the armor on Boba, so he's got to go for open joints areas that are exposed. But if the Predator is like something we get in the first movie, where they're not really armored, that's tougher though. That's a tougher one, because he's more exposed. Now, granted, as far as we know, Yamchas actually live a really long time, and so this guy could have a lot of more experience than Boba ever had. I'm going to stick with my gut on this. I'm going to go with the Predator. I think despite the fact that Boba's got a good couple advantages, I think the Predator is ultimately going to get the win in this. But I'll tell you what, man, if Boba gets it, I'm not going to be surprised. This is one of those fights where I think it could literally go either way. But I'm going to lean towards the Predator. Who do you got in this fight and why? Let me know. This is actually probably going to be, I hope it's live action. But even if it's not, I'd like it to be like CG or something. I would hope this one's not going to be pixeled. I feel like that'd be a waste. Or at least hand-drawn. If you're going to pixel it, at least do some hand-drawn stuff, Magneto versus Tetsuo kind of thing. But let me know in the comments what you think. This is one of those ones that could go either way. I'm looking forward to it. I am, because I love the Predator and I love Boba. So until then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you folks for the next one.